Hi, Year 7. I'm going to be talking you through our next DT project that you're going to be completing, and it is the Scrapheap desk organizer. So essentially we're going to be designing and making desk organisers, so things to organise your stationery and your schoolwork, and we're going to be making those using scrap materials from around the home. So think old packaging such as cereal boxes, water bottles, those sorts of things. And if you have a look at this first slide, I've got a few examples of some desk organisers that have been built using items from around the home that are no longer useful. So one of my favourites, top left hand corner, we've got an old broom head which is being used to hold pencils and scissors and things like that. Just to the right of that, a simple one but executed really well, so some old tin cans which have been painted to make them more aesthetically pleasing. Below that one we've got some layered cardboard, some layered corrugated cardboard, so it said segments cut away to whole pieces. So all of these are desk organisers, and all of these have been made using materials sourced at home which nobody's going to miss. They're on their way to going to the bin, but instead they've been given a second life and they've been turned into a desk organiser. So I'm going to go through to the next slide. So our brief. So with remote learning, students are now completing lessons at home and setting up makeshift desks and spaces to work in. There is a need for products to help students keep their stationery and schoolwork organised. The DT department would like you to design and build a desk organiser. This can be used to organise stationery, classwork, or both. To make your product, we'd like you to use old products from around the home. So for example, cereal boxes, egg cartons, plastic bottles, things like that. And it's important to know, you shouldn't use anything that's still in use. So don't go raiding the fridge. If you need to, please do check with a parent or guardian whether you can use something. Okay, so task one. This is quite a quick one. I just want you to tell me what you think the advantages are of reusing old products. So rather than throwing things away, what are the advantages of reusing old products? So I just want one sentence, and I've got a few key words there that can help you. So reuse, environment, waste, and repurpose. Task 2, so I'm looking for a mind map here, exploring possible ideas for your desk organiser. So you could be telling me what type of desk organiser you're going to make. Is it going to be something to hold pens and pencils? Is it going to be trays to store paper? Is it going to be some sort of holder to store smaller items like paper clips? Okay, what type of materials do you think you need? So do you need cardboard? Do you need some old tins or plastic bottles? Task 3, so we're getting on to some designing now. And I want you to sketch 3 design ideas for your desk organiser. Now, I found it helpful to actually have the materials I'd found in front of me for this task. So I'll show you now the materials I found. So an old coffee can, I've got an old Amazon box, I've got some old cereal boxes, an egg carton, some kind of top plastic lids which are quite useful, and some cocktail sticks as well, which are good for just construction and things like that. So with these in front of me, I knew what materials I had available to me to make my organiser, because really this did constrain what I could do with my design ideas. So I'll talk you through my ideas. This is my first idea, and it's quite a simple idea, but it's just to make an organiser for paper, so for classwork. And I'm thinking that could be quite easily constructed using some of those cereal boxes. I'll probably need some glue or sellotape, maybe some scissors to cut it down to the right size. But it's quite a straightforward one. And I've annotated my design. I haven't rendered it completely, but I have added some colour just to make it stand out and pop out from the page a little bit. Also, you'll see I've got some rough dimensions on there too, just giving an indication of how thick I want those compartments to be to hold my paper. Idea 2. So this one's more of a stationary holder. So I've got some compartments, pencils and pens, and a little tray there for paper clips. And I'd probably use, that tray would probably actually be circular, because I'd probably think about using the coffee tin or the plastic lids. Idea 3, so it's probably the most different out of all of them, and it's a series of pen and pencil holders held together by a kind of cardboard holder. So I'm thinking I'd need some more coffee tins for that, and I could use some of the cardboard either from the Amazon packaging or the cereal boxes. Once you've sketched out your 3 design ideas, for task 4, what we're going to do is you're going to need to select your favourite design. So the idea you think works the best, the one you think would probably be most useful, and I suppose also the one you think you can actually build using the materials that you have to hand. So my idea, or my final design, is actually a combination of ideas 1 and 2. So to the left I've got my compartments for holding paper, and then to the right I've got my pen and pencil holders. And I'm thinking with that I'm probably going to use some of the cardboard, definitely, and I might try and incorporate some of those plastic lids on the top, just for a little tray for holding, USBs, paper clips, those kind of things. I've taken a little bit more care with my rendering and my drawing, so it's a lot neater, and I did have a fine liner to hand as well, so I've gone over the outline of my 3D drawing. If you don't have a fine liner to hand, that's absolutely fine. I found it useful to draw a 2D front view of my organiser and then a 3D drawing. You don't need to do that. You can just do one drawing of your organiser, and it could be 2D or 3D. It's completely up to you. But I would like to see some annotations. And you can see with my annotations, I've included things like dimensions, how big is this thing going to be, what possible materials I might use. And then I also found it useful to include a list of what I'm going to need to make this. So I know I've got my cardboard cereal boxes, but what tools do I need? So I'm going to need some scissors. I'm going to need some sort of adhesive, be it tape or glue, in order to start putting this together. So essentially this lesson, we're just designing your organisers, and then in lesson 2 next week, we're actually going to start bringing them together and start building them. And one thing I would say with this is you will be kind of limited to what you can make based on from what you can find around the home. So if you haven't already, I'd source your materials first before you start designing. So before you start doing your design ideas, because you don't want to design an all singing, all dancing stationery organiser, but then realise you don't have the old packaging at home with which to make it. And then, as per usual, if you could submit a photo of your work to your teacher via assignment by 5 o'clock on the day of your lesson. And obviously, if you haven't quite finished, just send a photo of work in progress. Again, if you do have a printer, you can print that worksheet and you can use that for writing your answers and drawing your designs on. If you don't worry, you can just use plain or lined paper and complete your answers on that. Okay, thanks very much and see you next week.